If I ask what is virtual warehouse, can you tell me anyone?
Say it again.
If I ask you what is the virtual warehouse?
Virtual warehouse is the compute layer.
Virtual warehouse.
Yes, the virtual warehouse is a second layer in the Snowflake architecture, and that's the compute layer. And
okay.
it can have, we did not study it yet, but it can have multiple instances with it as clusters ranging from 1 to 10. And is that enough?
Okay. Others? Hari?
Yeah. Shekhar, virtual warehouse, you can say like depending upon multiple projects usage, if the requirement is the environment setup. If you want to use like individual components usage for every project. Yeah. If you want to use it like that, yeah.
Okay. Ashok?
Yes, sir. It is one of the component from the Snowflake architecture. It deals with the it will deals with the different cache and store the temporary memory and process into main layer.
Okay. So you all are forget to mention one main point. Virtual warehouse is the hardware resource resource in the Snowflake environment. After that, everything like this is in compute layer, this is having the cache memory. So majorly this virtual warehouse is the hardware resource in the Snowflake. Do you agree or not?
Yes.
We have discussed this point or not? Tell me.
Yes, we did.
We have discussed. See, virtual warehouse is the you need to remember or make a note somewhere. Virtual warehouse is the hardware component in Snowflake. Fine. After that, then it will be having, you can create the multiple virtual warehouses for the multiple projects, blah blah blah. But major thing is this is a virtual warehouse. Fine. Then we'll see how the virtual warehouse looks like. Then we'll discuss what are the options are available in the virtual warehouses theoretically, and then we'll see. Once we create our Snowflake account, I will show you how do we create the account, and then how do we create the virtual warehouse, and what are the options we have. Let me share my screen. Confirm me anyone you are able to see the screen.
Not yet.
Yeah. See, as I mentioned, virtual warehouse is the hardware resource to Snowflake, which is very much essential, which is very much required to load the data, to process the data, and to execute the IO request. What is the meaning of IO requests?
Input and output request.
Okay, what is that? What it will do?
Input and output request.
So,
Okay.
IO.
Yeah, that is sending user request from user giving the request user point of view when he is asking the request, there is triggering the SQL query.
Yeah, user will submit the request to the Snowflake, and then user is
Yeah.
get back the result from the Snowflake. So that is IO request. IO request. Make sense?
but Shekhar, IO request is coming from the cloud services layer. Am I correct?
Cloud services. See, internally it will happen. Internally. So when you as a user, when you submit any SQL statement to your Snowflake, so internally all these things will be happen, but we can't see all those things. We can't touch all those things. As I mentioned yesterday, so we are talking about the micro partitions and then column format and etc. So that is the architecture, how the data is going to store, but we can't able to see all those things, how the data is going to store in the database engine. But we can able to see the data only through your SQL queries. Make sense?
Yes.
Fine. See, virtual warehouse is the hardware resource. You need to remember strongly whenever I pronounce virtual warehouse. So this is the hardware resource. After that, remaining thing. Fine. So we have a two types of virtual warehouse: single virtual warehouse and then multi-cluster warehouse. Remember, guys, please. We have a two virtual warehouse. One is single virtual warehouse and then multi-cluster warehouse. I will explain you very clearly. What is a single virtual warehouse and then what is multi-cluster warehouse. So we will discuss about the first, what is single virtual warehouse. When you define or create a virtual as a single virtual warehouse, you will be defining a virtual warehouse size while defining a virtual warehouse. I showed you yesterday what are the different virtual warehouse sizes we have in the Snowflake. So these are the virtual warehouse sizes. You can able to create any virtual warehouse with these provided virtual warehouse. You can able to select any one virtual warehouse size and then you can create that virtual warehouse. So that is what I am trying to explain you. 1 second. That is what I am trying to explain you. While creation of a virtual warehouse, you will define a virtual warehouse size, and then apart from this, you will be able to select the options as I mentioned yesterday: auto resume and then auto suspension option. If you select a auto suspension option, it will ask you the time here. If you give the 10 minutes, then what it will do? If you enable this auto suspension option, I will show you all these things, all these options. Once we create the Snowflake account, I will show you how to create the Snowflake account, and then I will make you to create Snowflake account from your end also. Once we create the Snowflake account, then we will see how do we these things and all. Before to that, this is very much important to understand about the virtual warehouse, so that I am explaining. See, if you enable this auto suspension option, it will ask you the time. So if you give the 10 minutes, then what it will do? Already I explained in previous session about this thing. What it will do? Can you explain anyone?
After 10 minutes, the snowflake, the snowflake is not using, like it is in idle position automatically. That is the service is not used, it will be get suspension.
Automatically, if continuously if we are not using, then automatically it will go into a suspension mode. What is the benefit if it goes to suspension mode?
There is the fear, the purchase, the money will be reduced. The usage of the
That's one. We are saving a cost to your organization. So whenever the session is going into a suspension mode, so for that, Snowflake company will not charge to your organization. So this is the feature added in this Snowflake cloud data warehouse, which is not available in the other data warehouse. So this is a comfortable feature. So we need to pay what we are using. That's it. So we will not pay for the 365 days. So this is a option which is available in the single warehouse. Next, when you create a single warehouse, so it depends upon the load. Suppose, as I mentioned earlier, if any data load is happening in your Snowflake, so for each and every task, data load, IO request, and then data processing, whatever it is, we require a warehouse. We need to select this virtual warehouse. Without selecting or without using this virtual warehouse, it will not allow you to execute any task. So suppose if you are loading a huge volume of data into your Snowflake environment from the different source, at that time, if you already created a virtual warehouse with a small size, if you identify that the existing virtual warehouse is not sufficient for your data load, on the fly you can able to increase the size from the small to medium, So this process is called scale up. Nothing but you are increasing a virtual size from existing size to next size. This will do only. So this is a manual operation. I am telling you clearly, this is a manual operation. We will be doing the automatic things also in the next virtual warehouse. That also I will explain to you. So in this virtual warehouse, you will extend a virtual warehouse size manually from the existing size to next size. So this is about the single virtual warehouse. Now tell me, if you are not clear anyone on this single virtual warehouse, then I will try to repeat all these things, because we have to very much clear what we are going to use the terminologies and what we are going to create the objects. You have to clear very much clear. If I ask tomorrow, so you need to explain the same thing. You need to understand the same thing. Now tell me, if you are not clear on these things, then I will explain once again. So my intention is you need to understand the basics very clearly before creating all these objects, because these terminologies are new to the Snowflake environment or new to us also. While learning a Snowflake, we will come to know all these things.
So
Now tell me guys.
yeah, one.
Shekhar, can you repeat once again?
Go ahead.
Anyone? Yeah.
So the question is that this single virtual warehouse does not have auto scaling in it. Is that correct?
So that's what. No, we don't have that option. So we will be having that option in another that multi-cluster warehouse that I will explain you.
Okay, I just wanted to understand. Thank you.
That I will explain you. So why I am asking again and again, you all need to understand these terminologies and these topics clearly. Next, we will discuss the multi-cluster warehouse.
శేఖర్ ఒకసారి మళ్ళీ చెప్పరా, నేను వినలేదు, క్లాస్ ఇప్పుడే జాయిన్ అయ్యాను.
ఎవరు అశోక?
కృష్ణ.
Krishna, I was able to see you from the starting.
యా ఉన్నాను, నేను వేరే వర్క్ లో ఉన్నాను, చూసుకోలేదు. సో ఇందాక ఆడియో కొంచెం ప్రాబ్లం వచ్చింది, అందు గురించి.
Okay. So you were part of the study session, Krishna?
మళ్ళీ ఇప్పుడు వినిపించలేదు వాయిస్ కొంచెం.
No. So you are part of the study session or you joined today?
జాయిన్ టుడే డెమో క్లాస్.
Okay. So what is your background, Krishna?
ఇప్పుడు నేను ఐఎమ్ వర్కింగ్ ఇన్ క్యాబ్జెమిని.
Okay.
As a PLSQL developer, so I want to change my stream.
So how many years experience you have?
4 years of experience.
Okay. So
And 4
you
years
are there in the class, but so you are working on something.
యా 2 years ఏమో జెన్యున్, 2 years ఏమో ఫేక్ పెట్టుకుని వెళ్ళాను. సో ఇప్పుడు కొంచెం స్ట్రీమ్ చేంజ్ అవుదాం చూస్తున్నాను.
No. So you joined to the class now. I was explaining very clearly. You didn't listen that one. You didn't focus.
Yes, వినలేదు అవును.
So I need to repeat.
Yeah.
నేను చాలా క్లియర్ గా నేను బేసిక్ పాయింట్ నుంచి చెప్పాను. ఫోకస్ చేయాలి కదా క్లాస్ లో ఉన్నప్పుడు. కృష్ణ,
సారీ ఫర్ దట్.
Yeah, that's fine. See, guys, actually, so one of the student is asking in a regional language that, so he want to repeat the whatever we have discussed this concept. So he's asking to repeat the topic. I am repeating once again. Please be patient. Don't mind for that. Fine. See, so we discussed about what we are discussing now about the virtual warehouse. This virtual warehouse is one of the Snowflake object in the Snowflake. We are going to create this virtual warehouse in the Snowflake. One of the object, nothing but here. Krishna, can you tell me what are the database objects are available in the PLSQL? Hello. What are the database objects are available in the PLSQL?
ప్రెసెంట్లీ నేను డేటాబేస్ చేయట్లేదు, యూనిక్స్ మీద చేస్తున్నాను.
ఏంటండి?
ఆ డేటాబేస్ మీద కాదు చేసేది, నేను యూనిక్స్ మీద PLSQL మీద వెళ్ళాను, బట్ అది యూనిక్స్ మీద చేస్తున్నాను.
That's right. So virtual warehouse is the one of the object in the Snowflake, which is a hardware resource to the Snowflake. How we are having a hardware resources in our on-prem servers like CPU, memory, and then motherboard, etc. The same thing, the hardware resource the virtual warehouse is the hardware resource to Snowflake. Fine. So we will create this virtual warehouse, and then we will use to load the data, to process the data, and then to execute the IO requests. This virtual warehouse can be created for the separate virtual warehouse for the separate projects. Suppose if we have a multiple projects in the organization, so we can able to create the multiple virtual warehouses, and then we can able to use separate virtual warehouse. These things and all we have discussed in previous 2 sessions actually. So you can take recording video Krishna, yesterday's session and then before that day session. Fine.
Okay.
Next, if you create a single, so we have 2 types of virtual warehouses. One is single virtual warehouse and then multi-cluster warehouse. So in single warehouse, what we will do, while creation of a single virtual warehouse, we will define a virtual warehouse size. While creation of a single virtual warehouse, we will create a virtual warehouse size with the, by selecting a one virtual warehouse size. So we have these many different virtual warehouse sizes. We can able to select any virtual warehouse and then you can create. And also so you can able to select the auto resume and then auto suspend option. While creation of the virtual warehouse. What is this auto suspension option means? If you select this while creation of this virtual warehouse, you will select the virtual warehouse size and you will select this auto suspension option. If you select this auto suspension option, again by default it will ask you to provide the time. Then you will give the time here. So whatever you are giving a time here, by providing this time, and then you will create this virtual warehouse. Then what it will do, if you are not using a Snowflake, for the continuous 10 minutes, you have given a 10 minutes here. If you are not using a continuously 10 minutes, suppose you completed your work for the day, you are using only 8 hours, you completed and then you log off your system. After continuously 10 minutes you are not using, then this will go into the auto suspension mode. Whenever it goes to the auto suspension mode, then the Snowflake will not charge on your organization on the Snowflake service, because the session went on the suspension mode. Nothing but it is not working, it is not in active mode. Fine. Due to this, you are going to save the cost to organization. Next, whenever you restart the session, automatically it will be in the automatically it will become in a active mode. So this is about the single virtual warehouse. And also in single virtual warehouse, once you create a single virtual warehouse by selecting a one virtual warehouse size, so in process, suppose if you are loading a data into the Snowflake environment and the data has the huge volume of data, while loading a data, you identify that your process is taking long time rather than a expected time due to the huge load of the data. In that scenario, manually, if you want to increase a Manually, if you want to increase a next virtual warehouse size, then you can able to increase that virtual warehouse size. That can be called as a scale up of your virtual warehouse. So this is about your single virtual warehouse. Krishna, you are clear or not clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Clear, right?
Yeah.
Now we'll go into the multi-cluster warehouse. Guys, others, so clear or not clear? Single
Yes,
virtual
Clear,
warehouse.
sir.
Ashok,
Clear, sir.
Ashok, Hari.
Yeah, clear, sir.
Yeah, I'm clear, Shekhar.
Clear, sir.
Fine. Thank you. Next. Multi-cluster warehouse. I will explain you very clearly. While creation of a multi-cluster warehouse, what are all the inputs you will select? First thing, I will tell you. You will select the virtual warehouse size. These things you need to select. You need to select the mode. You need to select the mode. You need to select the scaling policy. And you need to select the auto suspend. These are the parameters you will select. Parameters. Fine. So you will select the virtual warehouse size. So we have a different virtual warehouse size. You will select this virtual warehouse size. Clear. Next, you will select the mode. Mode, you have two options. I will explain all these things, don't worry. Mode, you have a auto scale and then maximized. I will explain you all these things. You will select anyone. This option. Then scaling policy. Next. So you have a standard and then economy. You have a standard and then economy. And then auto suspend, then you will give the time here. So these are the, for sure, you need to select the parameters while creation of multi-cluster warehouse. One second. One second. I'm just cross verifying here. That's it. Before explaining it theoretically, I'm cross verifying. That's it. Fine. So we will discuss one by one. So we have discussed while creation of this multi-cluster warehouse. Also, we need to select this virtual warehouse. This is a very first parameter, and then you will select the next mode. You have two options: auto scale and then maximized. Fine. And then you have another parameter, scaling policy. You have a standard and then economy. You have a standard and then economy. This auto suspension. Here, if you select mode, you need to select a mode. In the mode, if you select a auto scale, then only it will give the scaling policy options to select the standard or economy. I will explain you what is this auto scale, what is this maximized, what is this standard, and then what is this economy. Everything I will explain you. No need to worry. But before to that, just I have reconfirmed. If you select a mode as a auto scale, then only you can able to select this scaling option. If you select a mode as a maximized, it will not give you a to select the scaling policy. Why it will not give that option? Then I will explain you why it will not give that option. I will explain you. Once again, I am repeating. While creating a multi-cluster warehouse, you will select the virtual warehouse size. That is first step. Second step, you will select a mode. In that mode, you have a auto scale and then maximized. When you select this, you will be having the drop down here to select the auto scale or maximized. If you select the auto scale, then it will give this drop down, this option, scaling policy. In the scaling policy also, you will be having the drop down standard and then economy. If you select a mode, as maximized, then it will not give the scaling policy. Fine. Then I will tell you, I will write here the combination. Suppose here 2.1 mode equal to auto scale. If you select a auto scale, then you can able to create then scaling policy is standard. Next. Mode auto scale equal to standard, and then you can create the economy here. This is the combination you can create 2.2. And then what is 2.3? Mode equal to maximized. Equal to maximized, then no scaling policy. Now we'll discuss all these options. What is this auto scale and then standard, and then what is this auto scale and then economy, and then what is this maximized. So till here you are clear or not? What are the parameters we are going to? I will tell you what is the meaning of this. If you're not clear, then I will explain you.
Clear, sir.
Till here. So these are the parameters you are going to consider. Fine. We will see what is the meaning of. Already we have discussed about this virtual warehouse. We need to discuss about these options. What is the meaning of this? Now, when you select a mode as a auto scale, when you select a mode as a auto scale, again it will give you the option here. One more option here. I am rewriting this step. Don't confuse. When you select this mode as a auto scale, it will give you the one more drop down to select these options: maximum number of clusters, and then minimum number of clusters. I will tell you what is the meaning of that. It will give you this option to select the minimum number of clusters and then maximum number of clusters. Fine. So what it will do, if you select the mode as a auto scale, and then you will get this option to select the minimum number of clusters, and then maximum number of clusters. You can able to select minimum number of clusters as a 1, and then maximum number of clusters as a till 10. We have a value. You can able to select those clusters. Nothing but in single virtual warehouse, you can able to change the virtual warehouse size manually. In multi-cluster warehouse, you have defined a mode as a auto scale. In this auto scale, you will be able to get this minimum number of clusters and then maximum number of clusters. Clusters nothing but servers. Nothing but if you provide this, what it will do, auto scale mode as a auto scale, and then you have given a minimum number of clusters as a 1, and then maximum number of clusters as a 5, and then scaling policy as a standard means what it will do, based on the load or based on the IO request. Suppose if multiple concurrent users are submitting to your Snowflake environment with the high complex SQL code to your Snowflake environment to execute those SQL code. If the concurrent users are submitting a multiple SQL code to environment, so internally it will calculate that. How many clusters are required to process that particular task. How many clusters are required to process that data? How many clusters are required to load that data? Internally it will calculate, and then it will start to execute the task initially with the one cluster. If it calculates that this minimum number of clusters 1 is not enough, then it will extend to the here, as we have a 5 customer, it will extend to the 2 automatically. So the difference is multi-cluster warehouses, automatically it will expand its warehouse size here. Automatically, if the number of clusters are 1 and then maximum number of clusters are 2, it will increase plus 1 plus 1, 2. If 2 maximum number of clusters are not sufficient, and then it will increase to the plus 1. Internally it will calculate, and then it will increase the 1 by 1 with the maximum number of clusters. It will not directly increase. It will not directly increase to the 5. Minimum number of clusters is 1, and then it will not directly increase to the 5. It will increase only how many clusters are required. How many clusters are required for that task? Then it will increase one by one, and then it will finish its task. Internally, it will calculate. Suppose if concurrent uses myself, and then Hari, and then Ashok, and then some XYZ users are submitting a huge SQL complex code to Snowflake environment to execute those SQL statements. So what it will do, whatever the SQL complex or SQL codes are available in the queue, it will identify, it will calculate that internally how many clusters are required to finish those workloads. Then it will increase to that maximum number of clusters one by one. It will not increase directly to the maximum number of clusters. So this is about the mode equal to auto scale and then scaling policy equal to standard. If you are not clear in this, then you don't understand this one. Then if you are clear, if you are not clear, tell me here this option.
Yeah, sure. The max number, initially we will define the max number of clusters, correct?
While creation of a virtual itself, you will select this maximum number of clusters is.
Yeah, correct. Suppose the complexity, the loading of the complexity of SQL query when it is calculating, thought that it is extending the mode the max number of clusters. Initially we define it is 5, and depending upon the complexity of the query, it is exceeding the max number of clusters. Then how to increase this? It will automatically, or we need to do manually?
That time you can alter the virtual warehouse size, but so based on the requirement only, based on the requirement. See, before designing or before creating a virtual warehouse, so you will do all these analysis. You will do all these analysis, and then you will go for this implementation. You will go for this implementation. That's what you have this maximum number of clusters. Again, once you define this maximum number of clusters, again you are remodifying this virtual warehouse with no meaning, because the purpose of this multi-cluster warehouse is you should not involve manually into the process. Automatically, it should be extended to the next level, so that you are giving this maximum number of cluster. Again, for your question, if you want to increase, then you can increase. You can alter the virtual warehouse. Clear?
Yeah, clear.
So I have a question, Shekhar. What is the threshold that the number of clusters will be changed from 1 to 2 or 2 to 3, or from 3 to 2 and 2 to 1?
Sorry, can you repeat once again?
Okay, what is the criteria or the threshold that
The criteria is initially you start with the minimum number of 1 cluster and then maximum number of 1 cluster. Nothing but a 1 cluster, right?
Right.
The combination is again I will tell you, this is still low level, still very much low level. Still very much low level. You start with the 1 now. This is first criteria. Two. 3. This is clear or not? It will add one by one, one by one, one by one. Guys, this is clear or not? Hello?
Yes, Shekhar.
Yes, good. Thank you.
So this is about the option mode auto scale and then scaling policy standard. So based on the requirement, automatically, it will extend its maximum number of clusters. And in real scenario, best practice is to select this combination only. This is the best practice. This is the best practice. We are going to select. And then what is next option? Then next. So we discussed about this one, right? Next, what is this? Auto scale and then scaling policy equal to economy. What it will do? We'll see. Auto scale and then scaling policy is economy. Scaling policy is economy. Fine. What this will do, the same thing here also. If you select scaling policy as a economy, this mode is same. Auto scale and then minimum number of clusters and then maximum number of clusters. If you select a economy here, what it will do, before increasing to the next maximum number of cluster to the next two, internally it will calculate what are the things are in the queue. If the workload in the queue are, it will take 6 minutes to complete the process or to complete the execution of those workloads. If it is taking more than 6 minutes to complete those workloads, whatever there in the pipeline, then only it will increase to the next maximum number of clusters. Next maximum number of clusters to 2 or 3, 4 like this. Once again, I am repeating, it will wait initially. Suppose if multiple users are submitting a workload or a IO request to Snowflake environment, think that simultaneously, parallelly, around 10 SQL complex code submitted to your Snowflake environment, and then those 10 SQL queries will take to execute and then complete more than 6 minutes. Then only it will increase to the next maximum number of clusters, and then it will start execute the workloads. So this is the difference between the scaling policy economy. So here in standard, whenever the workload is getting more, automatically without waiting, automatically it will increase the maximum number of clusters to the next value. In case of a economy, it will wait for the 6 minutes. If the things are taking a more than 6 minutes, and then it will increase to the next value of the maximum number of clusters. So that is the difference between the standard and then economy. Standard and then economy. Now tell me, these two options were clear or not clear?
Yes, they are. Thank you so much.
Next, what we have next? We have a maximized. If you select a maximized, then if you select a maximized, you don't get this scaling policy option to select. Directly you will get the, if you select a mode as a maximized, you will get a option. Even you don't have a minimum and then maximum number of clusters also. Directly you will have a number of clusters only. Suppose, see here, I will explore, I will tell you everything. No need to worry. Select maximized, then you will get the only clusters here. You will get the only clusters. You will get the only clusters here. Clusters equal to 5. Clusters equal to 5. If you provide this 5 mode as a maximized, and then if you select this maximized, it will give you the option to select the cluster 5. What it will do to complete your task, whatever the task, data load or data reading or IO request, whatever, it will use all 5 clusters parallelly to complete your task. It will use 5 clusters. It will use 5 clusters parallelly to complete your task rather than increasing one by one. It will use parallelly all the 5 clusters and then complete the task. So this is about the mode as a maximized. But in our real scenario, so we are going to select a multi-cluster warehouse with this option only. This is the best practice and what I have seen so far in my projects. And then apart from these options, we have a auto suspension. To select the auto suspension option, if you select this auto suspension option, you need to give a time here. This option already I have explained. This option already I have explained. So this is about the types of virtual warehouse: single virtual warehouse and then multi-cluster warehouse. Then if you have any doubts, then you can able to ask me. You can ask if you have any doubts here, guys. If you are clear, then we will meet at tomorrow's session.
All right. So it is like a partitioning, right, in database. It's a parallel processing.
I can't compare with anyone. Compare with anyone because this is the new future. Fine. This is the new feature in the Snowflake, and this feature is not available in any other data warehouse. So that I can't compare this with any other things.
Shekhar, are you going to post these notes to my?
Yeah, I will share. I will share. Do one thing in chat box. Send me your email IDs so that I will save all those email IDs and then share the contents. Sending or not?
Yes.
So I got 1 second.
Hi, Shekhar. Good morning.
Yeah.
This is Aniket. So actually, today is my the first time I joined today. So the previous
Mhm.
videos I can get. It's like
Yeah,
from
yeah.
here.
You can ask to institute people,
Okay.
and you will get the videos.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Fine, guys. Then we will meet tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, yeah.